Newsflash for those who are unaware, which you might be because you're paying attention to more important college football games. Auburn won. Auburn won over the weekend. Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. He's so excited. Or is he excited? Would you rather Auburn have lost this game and made a change with Hugh Freeze?
No. But man, a lot of Auburn people would say yes to that, which I'm a little surprised, slightly disappointed. But no, anytime Auburn steps on the field, court, whatever level, whatever plane of competition you have, I want them to win.
So Hugh Freeze beats Arkansas. Bobby Petrino, not the game that he was hoping for as he continues to try and find a reason to be named the head coach in Fayetteville. But we're here to talk about the Tigers, and let's discuss how they won this game, Zach, because that adds another wrinkle to the conversation, because it wasn't on the back of Jackson Arnold learning how to throw the football consistently. It was on the back of one-time Stanford platoon quarterback Ashton Daniels, and of course the Auburn defense, which we know is really good. What does Auburn do going forward with the head coach quarterback dynamic that is as unique as any in the country right now?
Yeah, unique's a nice word that I will take for sure. No, this is a game, and I said my biggest fear going into this was we were going to talk all week about how bad Arkansas's defense is, which it is very, very bad.
Not good.
And Auburn's offense was going to score like 10 to 13 points or whatever. And we weren't too far away from that. I mean, Auburn scored one offensive touchdown against Arkansas. It was part of a scripted offense in the first quarter, and then they did not score again. Yes, Ashton Daniels is getting a lot of love, and I do think some of the stuff Ashton did was better than the stuff Jackson did. I don't want to take anything away from Ashton here, and making a move in that game was 100% the right move after Jackson threw the pick six. But the story of this is how incredible Auburn's defense is and how awful Auburn is in the red zone. I've never seen anything like it before.
That's not a great thing to say about a third-year head coach. A first-year head coach, you can overlook it and say this has to improve going into next year. But in year three, Zach, what's the status of Hugh Freeze's seat underneath his rear after a win that, I mean, going into the year, you look at on paper and go, boy, they should win that game. By the time it comes around, folks like myself pick Arkansas to win because they're at home. They've got more urgency. You think it's going that way, and then they make the change. What does all of this mean for Hugh Freeze?
I mean, that's the, $15, $16 million question when you talk about, potential buyouts and all that. I don't think it did anything. I'm going to be honest. If anything, it kicked the can down the road. To me, I mean, you've got a similar situation this weekend, right? Like, I think most people are going to pick Auburn to beat Kentucky. Like, I don't think that's going to mean anything. Now, if you lose that one, I think the Freeze era is done. The following week is when it gets interesting. When Auburn goes to Nashville to take on the Fighting Diego Pavias, the Vanderbilt Commodores, which are a legitimate team. Very fun to watch. One of the more entertaining games I saw with them taking on Mizzou this past weekend. I think that's when it gets interesting, Spencer, because like if you lose that one, despite, winning the two previous ones against teams that Auburn should beat, you've got an open date after that. That's your other bye week. Would it make sense then to go to DJ Durkin going into Mercer and then going into the Iron Bowl? And then, we'll see what happens if they stick with DJ Durkin or if they feel like they want to go in another direction. That wouldn't shock me, but I'm kind of getting the feeling, Spencer, that if they're going to make a change, I think the most likely scenario is after the season. That's my guess.
Let me just throw this idea at you. Let's say they beat Kentucky, but they do it the way Texas did, where you go, wow, they won. But is there anything else we have that's good to say about the way that the team played in that game? Like, okay, I guess you got to win. What if that's enough for Auburn to say, all right, we're done with the Hugh Freeze era, and they want to give DJ Durkin enough time to have a sample period, a tryout, as the interim acting, interviewing head coach, however you want to see it. Do you think that is appealing to the Auburn administration at all to say, this is going to be your best chance to interview for the head coaching job. And if it doesn't go well, then we can rule you out as a candidate for next year?
I think if you want to hire DJ Durkin, you just wait, because I think there's a lot of potential downside if you want to go with DJ Durkin. Like let's just wait, because you go to Nashville. What if you lose to Vanderbilt? What if they don't look crisp against Mercer? What if they lose to the Iron Bowl? Your first home Iron Bowl is a big deal. I know it'd be a little bit different because there's an interim tag and all of that, but I think if DJ Durkin is the plan, I think you wait, or maybe you do it after the Vanderbilt game so you can almost shield him and protect him, because like Mercer's Mercer, and then like if you lose to Alabama in the Iron Bowl, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people that hold it against them. Alabama looks really, really good. To me, to answer your the specific part of your question on if you beat Kentucky but you have to scratch and claw to do it and you don't feel good about it, to me, I think that's another argument of just do it at the end of the season. That's why I think that's so likely. I think it's either then, assuming they win. If they lose, I think that's an easy answer. It's on Sunday. But if they win, I think it's either after a potential Vandy loss or you wait till the season's over.
There are two past coaching situations pop into my head, and I think we could see a similar roadmap here. The first one is at Boise State. Spencer Danielson was the defensive coordinator under former head coach Andy Avalos, who's fired after poor results. He gets the interim tag. He goes on to win the Mountain West as the interim. He gets named the head coach, and Boise State was in the playoff last year. That's what I'm not saying pound for pound, move for move, that's how it would go. But I think if that were to happen for the Tigers, where, you move on from Hugh Freeze and then Durkin looks pretty good and it's like, well, we can't ignore the results here, so we're going to give him a chance to be the head coach, and then it goes well. The other one that frankly feels more likely to me is Dave Aranda, where they won at Arkansas. Now they could win at Kentucky. Maybe if they beat Vanderbilt or Alabama, who I have in my top 10, coming off of their performances the last several weeks, if they win one of those games, I think that could be enough to keep Hugh Freeze. You have the quarterback change component, which happened at Baylor last year. They went from DeQuan Finn to Sawyer Robertson. That's been a revelation. They thought, all right, the guy who we once believed in is getting it right. He's figured it out. And then they came back this year, and of course, Baylor hasn't been any good, starting with the Auburn game, of course, when the Tigers played their best game of the year. But those are kind of the two paths that I see materializing here for this Auburn coaching situation. What do you think about that? Yeah,
I mean, once again, the options, I think the most likely option right now is 6-6. So that has you beating Kentucky and Mercer and losing to Vandy and Alabama. I think that's the most likely scenario. The next one, I think, would be Auburn winning one of those games that you mentioned. And at 7-5 with a win over Vandy or Alabama, definitely Alabama. But if you beat Vandy and you went out into the Iron Bowl, I think most Auburn fans would be upset with the decision to keep Freeze. But winning the games, you have to give him credit. If you're going to take credit from him when he loses, you got to give him credit for the wins too. And you had to know that this was an option. You had every opportunity to let him go after Mizzou. You had every opportunity to do it, and they chose not to. And they knew what could potentially happen. And so if you went out to the Iron Bowl with a road win against a top, but Vandy at that point would be top 10, top 8. If they beat Texas this weekend, they're going to shoot up, I would think, a little bit. I think I got to keep them in that situation. And then maybe the administration says, okay, you're the guy. You got to do the CEO thing. You got to do the CEO thing. You got to go get an offensive coordinator.
Do you keep Ashton Daniels at quarterback this week?
I do. I don't want Jackson Arnold to play another snap at Auburn.
Oof.
Is that crazy?
No, I don't.
Is it, though? Is it? He's getting paid the same regardless, Spencer.
No, it's true. I just that's. Did you think we'd be in that spot? I think is the more appropriate reaction that made me say that. That's.
No, I mean, I thought, and we did this a ton over the offseason, where it's he doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to be a top 5 SEC quarterback. If he's average, if he's 8th or 9th best quarterback in the conference,
middle of the pack.
If he's middle of the pack, Auburn's undefeated right now. Think about that. With how good this defense has been, Auburn is undefeated right now if Jackson Arnold is the 9th best quarterback in the SEC. Think about that. I don't think that's a crazy take.
I don't think it's a crazy take at all. By the way, can we draw the similarities?
Go cry right now. Let me go cry for a second. I'll be right back.
Can we paint the similarities between LSU and Auburn? I wish LSU and Auburn played this year. That'd be the most exciting Big Ten West 9-6 football game that we have seen in quite some time.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think I legitimately don't believe that Auburn and LSU are all that different. Nussmeier's been better than Arnold this year. Doesn't mean he's been great. And they, of course, have just blown everything up. We'll see if that happens in Auburn in the coming days, weeks, months.
Though, is like Arnold appears like the issues with Arnold appear to be Arnold. Is Hugh Freeze helping him? No, I don't think so. But Nussmeier, we know Nussmeier's solid, and he's like the scheme is a joke. With Auburn, I'm still like, at this point, it's been 3 years. Like, I don't think the scheme is great. But if we're putting blame, like percentage wise, like I think I would put a higher percentage being on quarterback play than the scheme at this point.
I think that's fair, especially given
all scheme.
I think that's fair. I think that's a notable difference because if Ashton Daniels plays this week and looks good again, the way that, I mean, he did enough to win the game on Saturday. Arnold obviously wasn't doing that. That does make you go, well, maybe it's not the coaching step. Maybe they just chose wrong.
Yeah, maybe Nussmeier has traits though that I think the NFL is going to like. Like I think the draft process is going to like Nuss.
Yeah, they will.
There's no way they're looking Jackson Arnold's direction.
No, I don't think that's the case. Jackson Arnold could be on his third team in 3 years in 2026.
I hope so. I mean, for his sake, like he doesn't need to be playing in the SEC. Like for his sake and to find success. And I mean, it sounds like mentally there's a lot of stuff going on, which you always hope the best for those guys. But Hugh Freeze just constantly like tiptoeing around his confidence. Like we can't do that anymore. And like legit, Spencer, I have a legit concern. I talked about it on my my Tuesday edition of Locked on Auburn, where like if they do, Hugh Freeze wouldn't name a starter. If they do start Jackson at home at Jordan-Hare Stadium, that I think the crowd's gonna be pretty great. One, because it's at home against Jordan-Hare, and then one, it's a game that they should win. I think they're gonna boo him. And like this kid, tough. Like I don't want him to go through that.
No. I just roll Daniels at this point. You know what Arnold is. Like, you have a season and a half of data.
Like, and Hugh Freeze knows that would happen. Like, don't start him. That's not. You've already had him sit next to you after all these post-game pressers where he's just slouched down, and like, don't keep putting him in these situations.
I agree.
It's not right. He needs to go somewhere else and get a fresh start because I think he can be solid at a certain level of college football.
Yeah. Boise State might need a quarterback. Jackson Arnold, that'd be a good fit. Zac Blackerby, always a good fit here on the show. He hosts Locked on Auburn, of course. And well, if you want your daily Auburn Tigers podcast, that's the one. It's me. That's the one. It's Zac.
Me.
It is indeed, just like Adele said. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Love you a long time.